show, 10-1 conversation. The long and drawn-out conflict in the northwest and southwest in Ambazonia, Cameroon, has been an intractable one that has drawn attention both locally, nationally, and globally. And in the long years of this conflict, several groups have come up with different solutions to attempt to put an end to the conflict. And in the past 4 years, it has escalated into an armed struggle. And in the midst of all this, we have very prominent people that are coming up with other solutions, trying to attempting to quell the whole situation. Today, we are dealing with one of those groups and one of those very topics, how to solve the problem that is rocking Ambazonia, southern Cameroon today. And the topic of today, we'll be dealing with an upcoming conference, which will attempt to answer some of the questions that this conflict is posing. It is an international conference on peace and security in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, or Ambazonia. Today, I'm receiving 3 guests, the organizers of the conference and those who are at the forefront of this very important initiative. I'll be joined in the studio shortly by Dr. Florentin Fonche, who is the leader of the Indigenous people of Ambazonia, Mr. Foninde Zama, who is a teacher, creative writer, and peace crusader based in Namibia, and Dr. Ndongwe Peter, who is the founder of the organization, the NGO that is organizing this conference, the founder of this very important organization that is organizing the conference. So I'll be right back to introduce the guests, and then we'll move on from there. Welcome back. Today we're receiving 3 very important personalities, stakeholders, and key players in the current conflict rocking the British Southern Cameroon, or Ambazonia. We have Dr. Florentin Fonche, who is the leader of the Indigenous people of Ambazonia. Dr. Florentin, you're welcome.
It's a pleasure, Dr. Edwin. It's a pleasure being here on SCBC.
We have Mr. Foninde Zama, who is a teacher, creative writer, and a peace crusader from Namibia. Mr. Zama, you're welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Edwin. The pleasure is mine to be on SCBC this evening and to see if I can put my own little effort in seeing how peace returns to our people. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. And finally, we have Dr. Ndongwe Peter, who is the founder of the Pan-African Organization for Research and Protection of Violence on Women and Children.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Thanks to everyone. And equally, thanks to all the listeners of SCBC who will be listening to us today to know exactly this breaking news and what is going to happen here in Ghana as far as the conference is concerned. I know many people are waiting to hear, and we are ready to let the cat out of the bag. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You are in the right place to let the cat out of the bag, to use your word. So, we are organizing a conference in a very difficult context. We must acknowledge that. Over the past 4 years, we've had thousands of people that have been displaced, both internally and externally as refugees in neighboring Nigeria and in other places. We've had countless casualties. Thousands of people have died, and the situation in the British Southern Cameroon, Ambazonia, doesn't seem to be getting any better. Now you have come up with this initiative to organize a conference in Ghana, as you state, excuse me, to try to chart ways of creating a conducive environment for a ceasefire and eventual negotiation and a way out of the conflict. I must commend you for taking that bold, for daring to venture into this initiative. Now, I'll start off by letting you talk about the conference, give us what it's all about, who is organizing it, why it is why it's being organized, who's the sponsor, and all that. And I'll start with you, Dr. Ndongli, Peter. So, your conference is coming. Your conference is coming in a very difficult context, like I said. So, how did you come about this idea? Why did you decide to organize a conference for peace and security in the Southern Cameroon?
Thank you, Dr. Edwin. It's a very good question because many people have been asking, and today they should be able to hear the reason behind. The first thing is that Pan-African Organization for Research and Protection of Violence on Women and Children is an issue that is operational in Ghana and also in Cameroon. For the past 13 years, we have been implementing a lot of development programs and human rights programs in these two countries. But within the period of 2016 onward, our work within Northwest region of Cameroon has been reducing and getting off of hands because of the crisis which is taking that part of the country. And we have been actually looking at it and hoping that there should be a solution to come out. But as you know, the solution has been so slow, and not because that people are not attempting to come out with solutions. There are a lot of people who have been trying to come out with solutions as far as the crisis is concerned. We are happy about that. But when we keep on seeing that the solution is not coming, as an organization that's actually intervening to protect the right of women and children, we thought it is time for us. We believe it was time for us to also intervene. We shouldn't just fold our hands and sit down and waiting for others to come out with a solution, because we believe that we can contribute something to positive towards, bringing back the peace and security within that part of the country. And so, because of that, our management sat down and decided that, look, let's do something for Cameroon. Let's do something for Northwest regions of where our work has been going on. We shouldn't just be working here in Ghana and then forgetting about Cameroon. And then the fact is that I'm born from that part of the country. I'm born in Bamenda. I'm from Kwen. And I cannot sit and see my own region, my own people dying. Every day you see villages are being raised down. Children are not going to school regularly. Completely, people are migrating and moving out. And the people who are actually suffering so much are the women and the children that we are actually out to protect. And so in Pan-African Organization, we decided something has to be done. Something should be done. And this is the time that thing should be done. So we actually got in touch with a lot of people, including my brothers who are here with us, with Dr. Fonche, and we said we need to work this time with people we need, not with people we love. Because if we say we are not going to work with this person and this and that, it's not going to work. So the whole issue is that we started talking to different people, different parts, different factions, and everybody with interest as far as the crisis in Northwest region of Cameroon is concerned, and telling them the importance of us coming together, because we've realized that there's a lot of fractionalization among the people. People are actually, not united and so on. So let us come and sit down somewhere and, talk as a family and see what can we do in order to stem the tide, to bring back peace. Because according to us, we believe we can win the war in our head rather than bullets and rather than the use of guns. And so that's why we decided to come with the conference. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Dr. Florentin Fonche, your conference is coming in the wake of what was dubbed the Grand National Dialogue in the Republic of Cameroon, with the what sounded to me like a similar objective to what this conference is seeking to achieve. So what is this conference doing differently? Is this not going to be another grand national dialogue that will end in the same way that what we saw back in 2018?
Thank you for that question. It's very important for people to understand the conference in Ghana, the Peace Conference in Ghana, hosted by the Pan-African Organization for Research, is completely different. It's different from what happened in Yaoundé with regards to the national dialogue, because it will bring all the factions in Ambazonia, which is also called Northwest, Southwest, former Southern British Cameroons, so that it could help the different factions to close ranks and actually come up with a negotiation team that would then be able to meet with the government of Cameroon to solve the problems that are plaguing us at the moment. So in that respect, that's how it will be different. Also, it will be taking place in Ghana, not in Cameroon. So there will be no issues about security and all that. So all of that is being taken into context, and it would take into consideration the views and aspirations of all of our people, all the indigenous people of Ambazonia. It would take into account the different regions where they come from. So every region will be represented. All factions are invited to come and join, because if we don't close ranks, it becomes a major problem to achieve peace that we so need in Ambazonia today.
Okay. From what I gather, you sound like what makes this conference different from the Grand National Dialogue is that it's going to be more inclusive, and it's going to be held on neutral ground. And you seem to suggest that neutrality supports your stance as the organizers, that you're not for one party or the other. We'll talk about neutrality and partiality or impartiality later. But Mr. Zama, I would like to get to you. Do you, the organizers of this conference, have any idea what the government of Cameroon is thinking about it? What is the government saying about this conference? I suppose they are aware of it. Mr. Zama?
Indeed, the government is... Yes, Dr. Edwin, thank you for the question. Indeed, the government is very much aware of it. But it is not time we worry about what the government wishes to more about what is necessary to be done. This conference, the government is very much aware of it. We are organizing this conference to come up with what Cardinal Tumi had intended from the beginning, the All-Anglophone Conference, which Cardinal Tumi planned, and it didn't work. That conference was going to be inclusive, strictly for Anglophones, to gather as brothers and chart a way forward. I think one thing that the government would like, the government would very much, is to be able to solve this problem with the consent of the Anglophones and to the satisfaction of all. And if the Anglophones come together in such a conference, the government should be happy. Yes, the government is very much aware, but we are not depending on them to give approval or not. We are gathering first as Anglophones, coming together as Anglophones. And I will add that it is a very broad-based conference, which starts from the grassroots, including all the people on what is now commonly called ground zero, coming up to representatives at the top and group leaders. So we are not depending on the government. We are really not even asking their approval, but we know in all honesty that the government will be very happy to find means of charting a way forward. I know everybody wants to see an end to, including the government. Thank you.
Okay. You said the government will be, you're not sure what the government is thinking now, but you think the government will be very happy with a solution coming out from this conference. Now, let me just ask you a direct question. What do you think? Do you think the government will be happy if the solution that is arrived at this conference is to secure the unconditional independence and autonomy of Southern Cameroon, would that still be a happy solution for the government? Do you think?
Dr. Edwin?
Because I suppose you have to think in perspective and come up with different theories of what are the possibilities of things that might happen if the conference arrives at one solution or the other on either side of the conflict in terms of satisfaction.
Dr. Edwin, let us get into perspective about what the conference is all about.
Yes.
The purpose of the conference is to work an immediate cease first. When we work for a ceasefire, then negotiations can start. Our purpose in this conference, the single objective is to let the guns be put down first. Then every other thing is coming after. We are not there to dictate to the government, and we are not there to dictate to separatists or whichever other group. Our purpose is to see that the women, the children, and the vulnerable population have peace first. And that will come with ceasefire before anything will happen. So we are not there to seek solutions. We are not there to propose solutions. We are there to fight for a ceasefire. We are not negotiators here. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that. You understand that for an initiative like this to succeed, you have to take into consideration the optics, the perception, how people see it on either side, because we all understand that we're in a very polarized environment where people seem to have been rooted in their positions and they are almost unshakable. So any initiative that seeks to bring these two factions, these two parties together is very seriously scrutinized by both because they are both suspicious of each other, right? We agree on that.
Yes.
Now, while your connection, your line seems to have a problem. While we while we go to fix the line,
are you getting me?
Your line seems to have a problem, so we'll move on and we'll come back to you for an answer to that question. Now,
can I take that? If it's Dr. Edwin, if his line is having a problem, can I take that up?
Sure, you can.
All right. We are talking about fixed positions. Like we explained from the beginning, the conference is for Anglophones to come together. I don't really understand what's happening here. We are going to have, there are people who support the government, no doubt, who will be at the conference. And we also have the separatists. We are looking at it in this way, that it is first of all an Anglophone concern, where we are bringing all the brothers into the house. They will have to must shift from their positions for us to find a solution. So everybody is invited. Like we said, it's very broad-based. So we are not looking at those fixed positions. Now it is time that whether we like it or not, those positions have to shake. Whether you are in a hardcore supporter of the government or a hardcore separatist, that doesn't matter now. Our focus now is let's make peace first, and then each person can defend his position as best he can. That is how we see it. So we are aware of those positions, and we're inviting everybody. I mean, you know that sometimes before you make a good pot of soup, we have to bring in all the ingredients. We have an ingredient like salt, which is sour. It goes into your pot of soup. We have pepper, which is which really bites, it goes into the pot of soup. But those extreme ingredients still come up with a good pot of soup. That's how we see it.
All right. So you're making a salad bowl, sort of. All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Maybe I would have to just jump in there and clear a few issues, if you don't mind, Dr. Edwin.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes. I think the issue of the indigenous people of Ambazonia is not that of independence. The Ambazonia got its independence once the trusteeship was terminated on the 30th of September 1961. And 1st of October is our Independence Day. So there's this misconception. A lot of these things will be cleared in the conference. This misconception about we are fighting for independence and so on and so forth. No, we are fighting, the people of Ambazonia are fighting for restoration of their sovereignty. And how did they achieve their sovereignty? They achieved their sovereignty by joining with La Republic of Cameroon. So it's not an issue of getting independence. No, we have been independent. As soon as the trusteeship agreement or trusteeship was terminated, in accordance with Article 76B of Chapter 7 of the International Trusteeship System, we became independent. So where we, along the line, prior to that, there were some errors at the level of United Nations implementation of Resolution 1608 and so on and so forth. But where there was a lot of issues was when we joined and through the plebiscite with La Republic of Cameroon, we joined fairly well and obtained our sovereignty within that context of joining. Later on, what happened in 1972, 20th of May 1972, AIJO came up with a referendum which merged the country into a federal system, a federal system, and then with all of that, there was that agreement earlier on as well that there was not going to be a tampering, or there wouldn't be the form of the state would be touched. But later on, he dissolved that federation, which really in quotes is federation in quotes, is actually a confederacy that we're going into. But then he dissolved that and came up with a union, which later on in 1984, the La Republic of Cameroon Constituent Assembly enacted Restoration Law 84/01. That was in 1984, restoring their own state, so dissolving the union and leaving Ambazonia as a vacuum, And unfortunately, the mistake the government did was continue managing the affairs of Ambazonia and running the country, without consent of the people. And not only that, you've got the International Court of Justice ruling of 2002 of the Bakassi Peninsula judgment, which stipulates that La Republic of Cameroon and Nigeria should return to their boundaries as at independence. And that was in accordance to the Franco-Anglo-German treaty. Unfortunately, Cameroon didn't respect that. So you have all these issues that have boiled, over and over. There have been agitations for decades, and it came to the situation where the teachers had to come out and say, look, we have these problems in schools. Our children are not properly taught. They're taught in Franc-Anglais. The lawyers had their own problem, and so on and so forth. So we had our independence. So again, you had the SCB 2892, which unfortunately the Cameroon government did not challenge the Republic of Ambazonia, which is headed by His Royal Highness Fonche Dinka. That was filed in 1992 in the Bamenda High Court. That judgment was not appealed by Cameroon. So these instruments which I've outlined, including the 1964 Cairo Declaration, which states that countries must maintain their boundaries as an independence, are instruments and bases for the state of Ambazonia to be restored. Now, when people say we are Anglophones, it's a problem. So this is in this context that we're looking at it, from this perspective. But I think His Excellency President Paul Biya is someone who wants to enshrine his name in peace and not as a mass murderer. So I think he would do everything to solve this problem. It's about sitting on a round table with the third party. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Florentin Fonche, right? Dr. Fonche? Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for taking us to the root, what is dubbed the root cause of the current crisis, because that is, you explained it briefly and very on point. And before I let Mr. Dr. Ndongwi Peter respond to that, I would like to add something, because I was looking at the conference website, the write-up announcing the conference. I talked earlier about partiality and neutrality, and I was referring specifically to this. Dr. Ndongwi Peter, I'll read something from your conference website, and I'll let you respond to that. You say, and I quote, "While the government of Cameroon was taking initiative to address the already known and ascertained professional grievances of the teachers and lawyers, the situation degenerated into a full-scale crisis and immediately transformed from soft to hard political and security conflicts. While the government was taking initiative to address the already known and ascertained problem." I suppose you are referring to the peace missions that were organized by the government of Cameroon to Bamenda, and where the people felt the lawyers, both the lawyers and the teachers, and the organizers of the strike, of the union action, felt insulted, I dare say, by the government for bringing prefabricated solutions to problems that they didn't pose. They said the government ignored their problems and brought their own solutions to issues that were not really what was the concern of the teachers and the lawyers, and sought to impose that on the people of Southern Cameroon. Just in the same way, like Dr. Florentin was saying earlier, in the same way that they imposed the union on us and whitewashed the federation and gave us the current status of the Northwest and Southwest, which runs across your conference website. So, don't you think that statement, while the government was taking the initiative, the conflict is degenerated into a full-scale conflict? Don't you think that is kind of partial already?
We are actually very neutral. It's not partial. The parties, as far as the conference is concerned, we have so many parties who have interests. The government is part, and then the different fractions, the separatists, the federalists, the unionists, and so on. And we are all aware of the fact that there have been serious meetings.
Excuse me, let me just interrupt you. What I'm referring to is that this statement seems to lay the blame for the conflict on the Ambazonian people, on the people of Southern Cameroon. You seem to suggest that the government was acting in good faith, and then the people escalated the situation. While the government was taking initiatives to address the already known and uncertain professional grievances, the situation degenerated into a full-scale conflict. One party was doing the right thing, and then the other escalated the situation. That is the impression anybody will take away from this statement. I hope.
Let me explain that. Let me explain that to you. Not at all, because normally we are aware of the fact that there were a series of meetings and negotiations going up Bamenda stations and here and there concerning the conflict and concerning the situation, the grievances of the lawyers, teachers, and so on. We're not biased because we are trying to let people understand where this thing started. Because while they were trying to look for negotiation, because on the table the people were sitting, and then finally the table was no more respected. And once it was no more respected, whether by which side or by which side, it degenerated into where we are today. And that is why we are saying that we all are aware of the fact that the root causes, there were some certain type of solutions coming up, but which was never actually came to light. And because of that, many things turned around to become what it is today. We are not here to be arguing about that because we know, but we are actually saying that let us go back to on the table. Let us go to Ghana and sit there and see. It doesn't matter whoever started the war. It doesn't matter whoever never provided a solution. It's no more the question now. The question is, how do we come out of this situation? What is the exit strategy? Because if we don't have the exit strategy, the situation will continue to be worse and worse every day, especially to our own people. So we are not biased. That is why we say we are very neutral. We need to point out, some people may take some certain points as if we are biased, but we need to let you know that these are some of the things, we have tried our best by all possible means to ensure that the messages that we are passing out to our people should be complete transparent. It should not have any bias between against each party and so on.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. Yes.
Edwin, don't mind. Let me clear a point. Let me add something here, please.
Yes.
Can I? Yes. This is what from Dr. Ndonwe's statement on the website, we can take away two things. You see, in war, there is a popular saying that says, in war, we don't worry about who is, we bother about who is left. At this time of this conference, we are not bothered so much about what has gone before. We are bothered about what we can achieve. If we stand here and say, yes, if we stand here, yes, let me land, please. If we stand here and say the government of Cameroon has not tried to solve the problem, we'll be lying. Actually, they've tried to solve the problem, and they've tried to solve it their own way, possibly for their own interest, which didn't work. And now, we Anglophones, we are taking the initiative to make sure that things happen the right way. They don't happen again. Right. We know about the peace talks in the Northwest. We know about the Grand National Dialogue, and they never came out as what the Anglophones wanted. So that is so much water under the bridge. We are taking now a new step, the Anglophone step, not the government step.
I get you. I understand you here in the studio. What I'm trying to make you understand is this conference is supposed to bring together people with very different, very opposing views as to what is supposed to be the solution to the current conflict. And like I said at the beginning of the program, these people are mutually suspicious of one another. And whenever something comes like this, people take it with a pinch of salt, right? They want to make sure that the neutrality, the impartiality that you are proclaiming here in the studio is reflected in the underlying objectives of the conference. And what I'm letting you understand is that somebody who is planning to attend this conference from one side of the conflict, going through your conference website, already begins to nurse some suspicion as to what position the organizers are in. It might be unconscious on your part, but let me take you to another statement. It's because if it is one occurrence, well, we can say that was an oversight or something. But if it's recurrent, then might be there's something that needs to be looked at again. I quote again from your website. In effect, as a quote, the education, health, and business sectors in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon for years remained the prime target in travesty to the principles of international law on the integrity and immunity of civilians. Schools are repeatedly attacked by armed groups. Students and teachers are threatened, brutalized, mutilated, and killed. Since the outbreak of the crisis, more than 150 schools and 300 villages have been burned down in these two regions. Schools and villages are attacked by armed groups. I suppose when you talk about armed groups, they're talking about the Ambazonian fighters, completely exonerating the military. And we know that the first schools, even from video evidence, the first schools and villages, or the first villages to be burned down, we have video footage of military doing it. But you don't make any mention of it here. You state schools are repeatedly attacked by armed groups. And then the next sentence is students and teachers are threatened, brutalized, and mutilated, and killed. And that 300 villages have been burned down.
Can I say something to that, Dr.
Yes,
Edwin? You need to understand that whoever carries a gun is armed, whether it is by military or by you or by me. As soon as you carry a gun, you don't refer to a regular army like the military of Cameroon as armed fighters. Yes.
When you talk about armed fighters, you talk about people who are not of the military. People like the Ambazonian defense fighters who are just regular men, young boys who have taken up arms to defend themselves. But if you call them armed groups, a military is not an armed group.
Sir, we need to understand that before we have to get into a situation of conflict, that is why we said that it has degenerated into an armed conflict. And once there is an armed conflict, people are carrying weapons, people are carrying guns. And when people are carrying guns, it makes the atmosphere unsafe for school, for children, and so on. Like you and myself, we know they won't go to school.
We understand that.
So,
but you're not answering my question. I'm sorry, sir. Let me interrupt you. You're not answering my question. My problem is with the statement: schools are repeatedly attacked by armed groups.
Yes, that's what I'm coming to, sir.
Conventionally, you don't refer to the military as an armed group. A military is not a group. A military is the military. They're not an armed group.
Can you allow me to clarify that point? The issue is that we are aware of the fact that schools have been attacked. We have evidence which have been documented not only by not by us but by different organizations, including you yourself, including the government, including the separatist leaders, including the other groups, which is clearly indication. This one is saying this one has caused it. This one is saying this has caused it. The issue we are saying that it is clear schools were attacked. We are whether it was attacked by whom, but by armed groups, and these groups can be it can be of different factions. So the whole issue is we are not going back to be counting. Hold on, let me learn, sir. Let me learn. Let me allow me to speak, sir. The issue is that we are aware of the fact that these situations are happening. We are not coming here to be going back onto that. That is the reason why we are saying that the conference should come up. If the conference is coming up, it's because it's going to solve those kind of problems, so that this accusation or counter accusation should not be occurring. We should be seeing ourselves now as people who are mature enough to solve our problem, void of using the bullets and the guns and so on, so that our children should be going to school. Let's keep away whether who attacked the school and so on, but let's look for and focus our attention towards this conference, which is going to resolve this crisis, so that this aspect of whether what is written on our website or this and that should not occur again. The website is giving you the information, but it doesn't bar the fact that, it doesn't stop the fact that in Ghana, we will not solve this problem, so that it should not occur again. That is the essence. Let us, when we want to settle, something, if we want to settle something, we should avoid, or we should try it as much as possible not to be going back onto what has occurred. These are the genesis. We have listened, Dr. Florentin talked about the genesis, where the problem started. And this is part of the genesis, and this is part of what is happening. And so the way forward is the exit strategy, why we are trying to look at.
This is the point I'm making, right? I want this conference to succeed. I want it to succeed more than anything else. That is why you're here. You're here to clear any doubt as to the objectives or the intentions behind the conference. And I'm helping you. I want to help you clear that to the public so that anybody going through our website will not be divided as to whether you are against or for something, right? And these are some of the things that will make people suspicious. I'm just pointing them out to you so that you can understand that when people read this, potential stakeholders in the conference, because this is, like you rightly said, this is not the first conference to be organized, and it's probably not the last. But if you want this to succeed, then it has to have an appearance of neutrality and impartiality that you made mention of at the beginning of this program. And I'm pointing out to you that you talk about armed groups attacking schools. Anybody reading this will know that you're referring to the armed groups and not the military, not the army. I'm just pointing these things out to you so that you probably can clarify them. That you say armed group, anybody carrying arms is an armed person, of course. But a military is not an armed group. What about armed groups?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That will be addressed during the.
When you lay the blame for threats, brutality, mutilation, killing, burning of villages and schools on the armed group, you are completely exonerating the military, who were the prime initiators of these acts of violence.
Yes, as I rightly said, that is the right of towards getting people to understand the story, even if it is considered to be one-sided. It will be addressed during the conference because the neutrality will be there. We are, as we have rightly said, we are not coming to Ghana to come and provide a solution to the problem. We are making sure that we come to Ghana and sit as a family to talk and clarify this, whether you are, that's why even we saying all must be on board, including the separatists, whoever, even those with the arms, they should come. They should drop down their arms and be part of this conference so that we will sit down and talk on these things. We are aware of the challenges that we are all facing. We are aware of the consequences of the crisis in Cameroon. And we are aware of the consequences that our people are going through in the Northwest and the Southwest region, especially the women and the children. So let us keep away all the politics or whatever, how the words were put on our website and so on, and focus on what we are actually out to achieve. Because you don't expect everything to be 100%. So let us just focus on what we are really out to achieve. And we are happy that you have hosted us because you are interested to see that the conference should succeed. And we believe that this is part of the success story, which we are starting it here. So let us keep that away. And we understand that in Ghana, everybody who is coming will have a contribution to say. That is why we say in Ghana, we will talk and talk and talk and talk. We can even fight. But at the end of the day, we must have to come together as a family and come out with a resounding solution that will put away the arms and put away the guns and put away and bring forward peace so that people can go back on the table and start talking. That is the whole issue. We are not coming to Ghana to come and solve problem or putting accusation here. So let's keep that away and move forward.
I understand.
Dr. Edwin, if I may just interject here and say something. Yes, Dr. Florentin Fonche.
Doctor, I'll let you make your point, but let me just add a question to you, and then you can answer the question and make your point at the same time.
Okay.
Now, what I'm driving at by these questions I'm asking is, Dr. Ndonwe Peter seems to suggest that whatever cloudy statement I've made on the conference website will be cleared at the conference. But my point is that those who are potential attendees of this conference are going to look at this website announcing the conference and make their decisions thereof. Neutrality is a very attractive thing. That's the only thing that will attract people there. But if there is a suggestion of partiality on the website, you may not even have the people at the conference to chart the solutions you are talking about. Don't you think it is better to clear these very suggestive statements on the website so as to bring the people that you need to be able to arrive at the objectives that we are all enthusiastic about? Dr. Florentin?
Yes. Yes, before I get to the question, I would want to say that and make the audience understand that the Pan-African Pan-African Institute for Research is a reputable organization, and I know some of the executives there. Dr. Ndoni is one of them, and I know him for his neutrality on issues like this. They have been involved in conflict management for quite some time. The website, as it is work in progress. If you go to the website, I believe from the last time I saw it, I think about 48 hours or so ago, there are no dates there on the on no specific dates as to when this conference will be held. So it's work in progress. It's something that came up, and if I didn't trust the Pan-African Institute for Research, believe me, I wouldn't have been here. If I didn't trust Dr. Ndoni, I wouldn't have been here. So it's because I trust him. I know he's a very serious person, and the team with which he works, the team with which he works, is a wonderful team that has a reputation out there, and they've got a name to as well protect. So they and you should also understand, Dr. Edwin, each organization has its own source of information. It's true, government forces, Republic of Cameroon forces, have committed some atrocities out there. You know, in schools, in churches, we've seen pastors killed. You know, there's even a Ghanaian pastor that was killed. We know that. So as I said, it's work in progress. It will be amended. I presume I'm certain it will be amended, and but more of this will be looked into in the conference itself. So I will be coming there. If I have to come there, I'll be coming there with my heart, the Ambazonian heart. If others will be coming there as Anglophones, so be it. If some of them will be coming, some of our people or our indigenes will be coming in as political parties approved by the Cameroon government, so be it. But we as a people will have to sit down and close ranks, because to be frank with you, this war is unwinnable by all parties. I know I touched at the genesis a little bit, I scooped at the genesis of the problem, but the reality is our people are suffering, our people are dying, children are not going to school. The other day, actually, because through my humanitarian work, I easily get in touch with some of those fighters to allow those volunteers to penetrate certain regions to assist the people. And I was telling the fighter that, look, you guys are saying there shouldn't be school. Do you know you can also study while you are fighting? Do you know people like Robert Mugabe, while they were fighting, earned degrees? And the guy was shocked. The guy was shocked. And for that, I had my volunteers go and attend to sick people, you know, allowed to pass so easily. Those were volunteers of the Black Cross Federation, of which I'm a co-founder. So there are issues, but I think the main thing is for us to come, to assemble in Ghana, and close ranks, because this war is unwinnable by both Cameroon nor Ambazonia. We need to come up with resolutions with the negotiation team, and there will be no way at the end of that session for the government to say they don't know whom to speak to.
Good. Thank you, Dr. Florentin.
Thank you.
Let's go back to the conference itself. I'm happy you pointed that out. And like I stated earlier, I'm not trying to trash this conference. I believe it's a very important initiative, and it's potentially going to lead to the beginning of a solution, at least to this conflict. Nobody is happy with the casualties on the ground, with the stalemate, with the slowing down of economic activities and the destruction of property that's going on. Nobody is happy with that. Everybody, believe me, even the fighters would like to see an end to this. And that is why an initiative like this is laudable. But for it to succeed, in a forum like this, we need to make sure that we clear every doubt about its seriousness and its objectives, its stated objectives, that people don't, because everything is very suspicious these days. And I'm happy I have three of you here to clear that. And the audience will be very proudly satisfied with the fact that it is not a panel of just NGO leaders, but also of someone like Florentin, who is openly on one side of the equation, leader of the Ambazonian people, of Indigenous people of Ambazonia, and who believes in the independence of Ambazonia. So that is stated. Now let's go back to the conference itself. On the website, you said that that the people of Southern Cameroon have for a long time been struggling to meet as a body to catalog their problems, and it has not been possible. And that conscious of this reality, you are convinced that daring would create an impact instead of grumbling hopelessly in silence and inaction. I don't know that the people of Ambazonia or Southern Cameroon have been unable to catalog their problems and their grievances. Can you explain that? What do you mean by they're unable to, come together as a people and state exactly what their problems are? Because I believe if there was an all Anglophone conference 1 and 2, and even over the years, the problem, what has been summarily called the Anglophone problem, which is a misconception of the real issue, those are known facts. So I don't seem to understand what you actually mean by cataloging the problems of the people of Cameroon that have been struggling and been unable to state exactly what their problem is. Can you explain that, Dr. Ndongwe Peter?
Yes. Are you getting me? Because I have my lines so bad here. Are you getting me now?
Yeah.
The issue is, we are aware. If you look at where you are reading on the website itself, you see there are other points that have dropped down saying that we consider that all those things have been there. Because if you understand, the scenario which is happening today is completely different from what was within the time of the AAC1. There were no arms, you see, and we are also aware of the fact that the initiative of Cardinal Tumi, which never actually materialized. So we are aware that a lot of initiatives have actually come up, but the fact is that they keep this question of what do the people of Northwest and Southwest regions actually want? It's still on the air. And really, and we look at among ourselves, we are seeing that there's a lot of fractionalization among us. And because of that, there is the tendency of us really sitting as a team saying that this is it. It's not really there. And that is the reason why we say that people have been struggling to come together. We have learned about different conferences which have been called concerning this crisis. There are Zoom conferences coming up here and there. We are aware of that. People are struggling in one way or the other. The difference with us here is that we are actually coming face to face to look at each other eyeball to eyeball, to be able to look at what can we do, despite the fact that there have been things like AAC1, AAC2, and so on. We may even, okay, let's just say that this is another type of an AAC3, but in a different way, in a different setting, because you understand that the dialogue which was called in Yaoundé, it was in Cameroon, and many people never wanted really to be there. The one in Ghana is an inclusive dialogue where we want each and everyone with different opinions, whether we belong to what faction, to be part of it. Because if
okay, that point is taken. Now, the current conflict, which degenerated into armed struggle beginning 2016, is a consequence of something. The statement here is that instead of grumbling hopelessly in silence and inaction, I have the feeling that the conflict that started in 2016 is like a reaction to the stifling of the Anglophone voice, of the voice of the Southern Cameroonian within La République.
This is the person. If we actually appreciate all the issues that are looking into like hello.
Can I finish the point?
Yeah,
because the line has a problem.
Yes.
Your line had a problem.
Yeah, I can get you now.
So
get you now.
Yeah. So I have a feeling that, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone in the studio can correct me if I'm wrong, that the taking up of arms is precisely because the government of Cameroon has refused for over 50 years plus to listen to the Southern Cameroonian voice. It is not that the Southern Cameroonian have been grumbling in silence and inaction. The problem, as far as I can read it, and anyone can correct me if I'm wrong, is that at every point, when they have spoken, they have been silent. When they have taken any action, they have been brutally suppressed. So to say that they have been grumbling hopelessly in silence and inaction seems to me like, it's not very clear. It's again laying the blame on the victim instead of the culprit. Because what is currently taking place is the ultimate action, which is a consequence of the suppression of the voice and the actions that have been taken in the past. Am I correct? I'd like Mr. Zama to respond to that, if his connection is okay now.
Indeed, we know the Anglophones right from the days of Bobengum Jua. They have never been quiet about their situation, but they've always played this gentleman's role. Where they leave diplomacy work. And diplomacy again and again and again. Yes, I remember in Parliament, and I remember quite a number of nice resolutions that were brought up, including the fact that if things are not working, they should go back to the Federation. I remember that I was really very present, though a young man. I remember that they tabled these things and sent it to Yaoundé, and there was a grand national dialogue. There was a larger debate, whatever they called it, and they came out with the constitution. They came out with the constitution, the 1996 constitution.
Yeah, Your line has a problem.
My line is so poor. My line has a problem. I'm trying to. I have very limited happening with the MTN network. Yeah.
Dr. Ndowe, can you want to respond to that while Mr. Zama is trying to fix his line?
I'm saying that I didn't even get what you are.
I'm saying that there's a suggestion on your conference website. I keep going to it because that's the core of the conference. That the Southern Cameroonian has been grumbling in silence and inaction. And my question was, don't you think it is actually the other way around? That is, their voices and their action have been brutally suppressed over the years, over 50 years. And that the conflict that started in 2016 is actually a reaction, a consequence of that suppression and brutality on the Southern Cameroonians.
Yeah, so if you read that sentence very well, we are looking at the different stakeholders who have actually, you say, conscious of the reality. We are convinced that daring would create an impact instead of grumbling and hopelessly in silence and inaction. Yes, this is not referring to the people. This is referring to good offices. There are a lot of good offices that should have been able to intervene. But people just sit there and say, "Oh, these people don't know what they're doing. This is hopelessness," and so on and so on. So that is that. People just grumble and stay. So that is why Pan-African Organization took up that initiative that we can't continue to be sitting, because actually in our organization we have been talking about this thing internally. And so, but you see, it was like we are just talking and talking, but we don't take action. So this sentence is referring to us, that we have taken an action instead of being hopeless and in silence. We have taken action to ensure that something should happen, and that is
all right.
We are not referring to people. Yeah.
Can I just jump in here a little bit to
yes, Dr. Fonche?
Yes, I just wanted to say that the Pan-African Institute for Research, the step they have taken is a very bold one, and I really congratulate Dr. Ndoni for that and his team, because in December 2019, I was invited by a group of friends and some elders, and we had a meeting for more than 3.5 hours. The objective was, we cannot sit here as good people and our people are being slaughtered, and also the military of Cameroon incurring a lot of losses in terms of lives and equipment and so on. Because at the end of the day, we have lived together for so long, intermarried, had associations together. And so we need to solve this problem. But as a few weeks down the line, I was tasked to talk to Comrade Sako, Ikome, Dr. Akwanga, Bo Herbert, Chris Anu, His Royal Highness Fongonji Dinka. I actually spoke to his son. And a number of those leaders accepted coming together in the United Kingdom so that we could charter a way forward and close ranks. And this group of friends and elders were prepared to even bring in religious leaders, consortium leaders, leaders such as John Funzi, and so on and so forth. And I did brief these other leaders within the act what was happening. But what happened later on was they later on grumbled and stayed, because they could not just contain. They could not contain any longer the factionalization, infighting, killings amongst the Ambazonian factions. And the time is running out. We need to come together. We know, you've talked about the AAC 1 and AAC 2, the declaration, the proclamation, and one of their resolutions was that they should go back to a federation. To be honest with you, Ambazonia never had a federation with La Republic of Cameroon. We had a confederacy. That's what we're going in for. Confederacy is a statutory union where you have two states coming together, two states with different dates of independence, with different international boundaries. A federation is a territorial, I repeat, is a territorial union. Former northern British Cameroon had a territorial union, federation with Nigeria. It became the Saduna state, province, which is now scattered along Borno State, Adamawa, and Taraba. I have relatives there. I have relatives in Nigeria. I have relatives in La Republic of Cameroon. So I know what I'm talking about. So this effort by the Pan-African Institute for Research is a laudable one and must be promoted by every stakeholder. I would love to be told, if I'm not there, my IPOA will be represented, heavily represented. If I'm not there, I want to be told all the leaders, all the Ambazonian leaders were present. I want to be told chiefs and fonts of Ambazonia or former Southern British Cameroons, what some people refer as Northwest, Southwest, they are represented. Why? Especially in the grassland region, we have to take this seriously because we have an opportunity here. We still have Paul Biya still alive. He is the fun of all funs. It was not a mistake for him to say in Paris in this in Paris in the second Paris summit in around November that in 2019 that it was they tried to assimilate us and it didn't work. I believe in my heart of hearts he is cornered. The people around him, very few people around him are making it difficult for him to do the right thing. But with the conference coming together, with us coming together as one under that umbrella of Dr. Ndonyi's organization, we will be able to say, look, these are our problems. These are the people to speak to. We want a solution.
Right. Dr. Florentin, you are a key player in the Ambazonian, what some call struggle. I like to call it a revolution in the process of restoration of the independence or the statehood of Ambazonia. You are one of the key players and a strong believer in that status, right? Now, and you are also a strong believer in the seriousness and the importance of this upcoming conference.
Yeah.
What are you doing to convince the skeptics within the Ambazonian leadership to be part of it? Because we all agree that if they don't attend, if most of them don't attend, this will be an exercise in futility because you need the people who are the key players in the whole thing to come together so that whatever resolutions you arrive at in the conference will not face any obstacles on the ground. So what are you, this now is a personal question to you, Mr. Dr. Florentin Fonche. What are you doing personally as a key player to convince the skeptics within the leadership?
I've started talking to some of the leaders. It's not an easy task, but as a child of God, I believe God is going to shine the way for us. He's going to show me the way, show them the way, and that the right way is going to Ghana. The right way is for us to come together as one, irrespective of our positions on the sovereignty of Ambazonia, former Southern British Cameroons, Northwest, Southwest. All of us, no matter what shade we hold, no matter what umbrella we carry, I am doing everything to be in touch with these leaders through intermediaries. Some of them I'll be calling them in the coming days and say, my people, there's nothing to fear about. Come and let's go there, or be there, and a well-represented delegation of the IPOA will be there as well. Because we need to do this for our children. We need to solve this problem once and for all. We know after the AAC 1, AAC 2, the SCNC leadership was decapitated. A lot of the leaders escaped. That was a mistake by the government, because it has boiled to the point where we now have arms. I can tell you, I've got intelligence from different sources confirming the movement of now mercenaries into Ambazonia and Cameroon. So this conflict is not something which people will have to just ignore. This conference is a final call to me. If you don't come, you could easily be considered a pariah. I'm sorry to say this, but it's a fact. We have to close ranks, stop all these egocentric tendencies, and just think about the suffering masses, those children, mothers. The other day, a member of my team presented me video and a picture of a child delivered in the bushes. That is unacceptable.
True. We have had some of those heartbreaking videos and pictures from Ground Zero. Now, we are going to round up the program very soon, but I would like to talk about the funding. Now, you expect the people on the ground, the first to be impacted by this conflict, to be part of the solution. And the conference is all the way in Ghana. So how are you going to have Ground Zero represented in Ghana?
Yeah, thank you, Edwin.
I can
That's
take
a very important.
I can take. Yeah, Zama.
Dr. Ndoni, let me take it and then you can continue.
Yeah, yes, you can clarify that. Yeah.
Yes, Edwin, that is a very important question. Like we were quoting yesterday, in making peace, in seeking for solutions, we have that adage, nothing about us that doesn't concern us. Is going to be very much a part of the conference. They are going to have their representative. They have the right, and not representative of a specific group or this. The fighters will be represented. The traditional rulers will be represented. Women will be represented. Everybody from Ground Zero will be represented in Ghana. They have the free will to also choose their representatives. We are not going to choose who is coming. They choose who needs to come to be there. So since it's very much, we are very much concerned about them, they are going to be at the forefront of the conference. We are just enablers for them to come out clearly. So we are going to be, Ground Zero is very much covered.
How are you going to get them to Ghana?
The question you posed to Dr. Florentin about people, convincing people. I think if we are talking here today, if we are talking to SCBC, yes, if we are talking on SCBC today, we know what SCBC stands for. And if SCBC has opened its doors and we talk about this conference here, that's the way the other doors will be opened. I'm one of the people who approached SCBC from the beginning. I've approached people like other parties like Scope and other organizations. We are talking to them. And what we see so far, we are trying to explain, to know, let everybody know why we are coming in. We need to come together. And I think that everybody is buying, no matter how hard, no matter what hard lines people drew, I think those lines are weakening up now because everybody sees the need for peace. How long can we keep this up? Yes, we can resist forever, but what's the point? Yes, we will resist forever. Let me say we cannot. Let me not say we can. We will resist forever until we meet our goals. But how long are we going to keep that resistance? So it's time we.
Yes, that the point is made. So my question, Mr. Zama, my question was, how are you going to get the people in ground zero? How are you going to get them to Ghana to be able to attend the conference? Dr. Zama's line has a problem. Dr. Ndongwe, can you take up that question? Dr. Ndongwe, can you answer? How do you intend? Yes. How do you intend to take
Dr. Ndongwe seems not. Okay, let me throw light on that. Every participant's covered. Every participant will be transported to Ghana and back. So it's not like they're going on their own. The moment we is going to start, delegate will be taken care of. I think Dr. Ndongwe can add. Yes. Now that he seems to have come back.
And how are you getting the funding to get these people to Ghana and every other logistic issue to be handled?
The funding is the funding, raising funds is the prerogative of the Pan-African organization. For somebody like me, I came in as a resource person whose ideas are respected. But I think that Dr. Ndongwe should be able to throw more light on that.
Dr. Ndongwe? All right, we seem to have lost Dr. Ndongwe. One final question.
But yes.
One final question.
Yes.
One of the points you make about the conference is that one of the obstacles to dialogue and negotiations is because the government of Cameroon has not been able to identify who to dialogue or negotiate with, and that is one of the objectives of this conference is to come up with that platform, that that union of ideas, to be able to present a front, a negotiating front that the government of Cameroon can be able to say, okay, we're going to negotiate with these people. But we have seen that over the years, the problem has not actually been that the government is unable to negotiate or unable to identify who to negotiate to, who to talk to. The problem seems to have been refusal or reluctance to negotiate. We've seen back in the 90s where there was actually a united front that the government was able to negotiate with, to talk to, and the solutions that were arrived at, none of them, for over 20 years now, have seen the light. We saw back in 2017, 2018, the attempt at a dialogue when there was still a consortium. What happened? There was a united front that met with the government to negotiate. But we know exactly what happened at that negotiation. We saw the Grand National Dialogue, which failed because the government decided to choose his own, their own people they thought they would negotiate with, leaving out the key players. So, what other ideas are you going to? Are you looking forward to bring up in this conference that will enable the government to negotiate in good faith? What will be different about this other platform you are bringing? I think the government will be able to negotiate in good faith and implement whatever decisions they arrive
at. At the time the government was split, they were disbanding consortium, locking up their members, or disbanding ANC leadership coming to exile. There were no arms. At the time they came up with their Grand National Dialogue, they thought we could still play around, but now everybody is realizing that the time to play around long. Now they've been given, we know they've been given the excuse that just a moment. They've been giving the excuse that they cannot dialogue with Anglophones because there are too many fronts. There is A or C. There is a scope. I mean, they talk of all the leadership positions that are there, and they give the excuse that each group has its own demand, which cannot possibly be met. So this conference now is an opportunity to prove to the government that these groups are really not as different as they think. I don't think that scope of that is different, or that everybody wants the same, their autonomy. So that is where we land.
Yeah, but my question is, back in 2017, there was a united front. There was a united.
Sorry.
We had back in 2017 and 2018, or maybe earlier, 2016, 2017. There was the SCACUF, which was like, we didn't have these many groups. They met with the government. The government at that time had the people to dialogue with. They actually met. The government arrested that leadership and threw in jail. So what is there this time around to assure us that the government will be coming in good faith, that if you actually present a united front for the government to negotiate with, they'll actually be negotiating in good faith and not, reenact the scenario we saw in 2017, where there was unity of ideas, but they trashed the whole thing and tried to impose their own solutions. What is there this time around that is different, that gives us the assurance that the government will be coming in good faith to negotiate a solution out of this?
I think, let me come in there. Let me say something there. If you look at the scenario or the situation or the current happening in the Northwest and Southwest regions, you certainly know that everybody is so tired. People have been thinking that it's just going to be a mere police action, it's going to be like this, but things have continued to deteriorate on the ground and so on and so forth. Even as we are all aware, we can't. This war, the objective of each party can never be achieved in the battlefield. So the best thing is for them to go down and talk, and that is what we are looking at. And that is why we're saying that if you look at that, the period where in 2017, 2016 or 17 or 18, the situation today is completely different. There is a need that everybody is so tired. Everybody is so tired, even including, as you rightly said, the fighters. And everybody is willing to see that these things should come to an end. Even the military themselves, they are not happy. Do you think they are happy to be going and killing their brothers and sisters for no good reason? They should not be killing, because within them, we know that people are doing it, and they have become tired. Nobody is happy to be seeing you killing me, this one, that, killing that, and so on. This war can never be defeated in the battlefield. So there's the need for people to talk. And you see, the aspect of fractionalization has been one of the weapons, or one of the factors that has been able to, make the government keep on saying that, with whom am I going to talk? Because today, they talk with this group, tomorrow that one would resurface, as according to what we're hearing. So now, if we come together and actually put an end and call for a ceasefire, and then we put in place people who actually have to, say these are the people that we can talk, and everybody respect. The problem among us is that we put leaders, and at the same time they go behind and start working against these leaders. And when you start working against these leaders, they don't have any credibility again, and things start going wrong. So people need to be very serious that, okay, these are the people that, if they, after the conference, if they want to talk to them, these are the people, and they're talking because of us. And so everybody falls behind, and then life is normal. People are going about with their businesses and so on, as we are hoping for. And then this negotiation is going on. I don't think the government is not willing now to talk to people. The government is willing. The government really, everybody is tired. Everybody is tired, including you and myself sitting here. Yeah.
Of course. Well, we're tired, but I'm just curious. What about the government makes you think that they're tired or that they're actually worn out? Because the government rhetoric hasn't changed in one day. It has been
in the politics of war. In the politics of war, you and myself are aware of the politics.
Reinforcing the troops on the ground, committing more and more atrocities, promising more and more doom for the people, and the rhetoric and the action has been escalating. There's nothing in reality to suggest that the government is fed up or tired of this whole thing. So you seem to maybe there's something you would like to share with our viewers that I don't know that tells you that the government is actually at a point where they are willing to sit down and negotiate. Because the government position back in 2017 was on ne négocie pas avec les terroristes. And at this point, as we're talking, they still consider Ambazonia fighters as terrorists, and even the Ambazonia leadership as terrorists. Anybody asking for demanding the restoration of independence of Southern Cameroon is a terrorist. And they said they don't negotiate with terrorists. So what is there that makes us think that they're going to change from that?
Can I just interject here a little bit?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Doc.
Yes, it's very important we get things clear, and that's why I keep saying people need to come to Ghana. Absolutely important. Those who fail to come, they will be the ones to regret, because the train is already on its way. The government is not totally wrong to say these Southern Cameroonians are terrorists. You'll be shocked to hear that from me, but it's a fact. If you say you are a Southern Cameroonian, and if you say you're a Southern Cameroonian, you are talking.
Yeah.
Yes, the government is right to say that. Why am I saying this? If you say you're a Southern Cameroonian, or you come from Southern Cameroon or Southern Cameroons, you are referring to a Bolowa. I won't condone the splitting up of another country. I've got relatives who are Igbo. I won't condone this breakup of Nigeria. I have relatives who are from the former Sarduna province who accept the breakup of that area of former northern British Cameroons from Nigeria because it was a territorial union. So people have to be careful. They have been marching all these years, writing letters and talking about Southern Cameroons. We are Southern Cameroonian. London is not a country. Georgia is not a country. So people must be careful in their language. When you say that, I know what is happening in the diplomatic arena. People write letters and say they are Southern Cameroonians. That's wrong. You're talking about a Bolowa, Njuma area, and so on, close to the Gabon border. If you want to take that part of Cameroon, don't fight in Ambazonia. I'm the leader of the indigenous people of Ambazonia. I ask you to go to a Bolowa and be fighting there. You're a separatist if you say that. If you say you are Southern Cameroonian or you are from Southern Cameroon as a state, where is Northern Cameroon? If you say you are British Southern Cameroonian or former British Southern Cameroonian, I have a question for you. Where is French Southern Cameroons? So if people don't come together, some of these things will not be clarified because people have been using the wrong terminology, the wrong appellations, and getting our case, which is such a simple thing to resolve.
We agree on that. We agree on that. And let me just point out that the language or the choice of words or the appellation of Ambazonia is one thing. But it's quite another thing that the government will call these people terrorists when they know exactly that they are not referring to Ebolowa or the southern region of Cameroon, of the Republic of Cameroon. They're calling the terrorists as those who are fighting in Ambazonia. They're fighting. Those are the people they're referring to as terrorists.
Let me clarify this further. When you allow people for decades to call you all sorts of names and you accept it, it's a problem. And if you propagate that appellation, then you make your case weak, because even in the last 2 decades, we've got leaders in the Republic of Cameroon calling us les ennemis dans la maison, les Biafrans, we are Biafrans, dogs, prostitutes, recently they say, Anglophiles. And we've been accepting that. We are the people of the Northwest, Southwest, as they have named us, Nozo. But within the intellectual, within the international scene, the international arena, with following constitutionality and legality, Ambazonia is a name. It ranks in the self-interest index as number 10. All other names are 0 in the self-interest index. So there are things that people will need to come there and get clarified, because just our own people have modeled up our own case with stupid letters. I've gone and seen diplomats, and what did they do? Just turn around and say, look at what your people are saying. They are Southern Cameroonians. What do you want us to do?
Okay, I guess that is part of the education that our people need, even the leadership, even some of the leadership. We agree on that. But I was referring to the language of the government calling us terrorists, calling anybody who believes in and is acting towards the independence or restoring the independence of Ambazonia, calling them terrorists, and that they don't negotiate with terrorists. We cannot sit and pretend that the government doesn't know who they're referring to. They're not referring to people fighting in the southern region of Cameroon, the Bolowa, Kiosi, and all that. They're referring to Ambazonian fighters as terrorists, and they don't negotiate with them. So my question was, I come back to it, what is there in this context that gives us the assurance that the government will finally come around to negotiate with quote-unquote terrorists?
I think I should be. Can I come in there?
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, can I? Yes, sir. I just wanted to let you know, we are, when you are actually talking, there are things that you don't really come out in public to be sharing with people. There are a lot of strategies or security information that you don't just have to come out. The whole issue is that we believe that when we come together within this period as a family, and then we will be able to convince the government for them to see just our numbers coming in face to face and coming out with a good resolution. A good resolution that is actually, one, showing that we are mature by calling for ceasefire. 2, showing that we are mature by making sure that we put down our guns. It will prove to the international community that we know what we are doing. And once you prove that to different stakeholders and so on, that we know what we are doing, even we are proving that also to the government, they will know that we are serious. And certainly, these resolutions will certainly be taken into consideration. Let us keep away whether they have been calling you terrorists or they call you this and that. If we are terrorists, the fact is that we still remain brothers and sisters. We still remain like that, and we still remain humans. We cannot keep away our human quality because we have been called this and that, and then we say, let us just become dogs and then continue to fight forever. Whether we are terrorists or whatever, whether they call you terrorists or they call you what, the issue is that, is there a way out? of this thing, so that there should not be any case of people being called terrorists here and there. Yes, there is a way out. And what is the way out? Let us come together in Ghana and sit down and talk like a family and present a very good team that these are the people. And then we understand that people should know that you should not come out again to be claiming that you are this, you claiming that you are this. If they don't talk with me, if I'm not on the table, nothing should work. If this one is not on the table, nothing should work. No, that is where the whole thing is coming from. We should, once we come together and put ourselves together, eyeball to eyeball, talking and signing this thing and presenting our resolution, those who are going to carry it to the government, they carry it to the government, and we all back that resolution. There's no way that they'll sit there and be telling you that you're a terrorist. Whether you call me a terrorist or call you a terrorist and so on, the issue is that let us have an exit strategy out of this thing so that the word is terror or to have peace, so that our people in the peace, our mission, okay, of whatever the group want, the people sitting on the table to be negotiating with the government, the best company will be talking by then maybe Doctor will not be there, Florentin will not be there. It will be different people. It will not be us. But we just want to ensure that people should go on the table. There should be a possibility of people going back on the table and talking rather than fighting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Doc. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to round out the program soon. The conference, the International Conference on Peace and Security in the Northwest and Southwest regions of Cameroon, former British Southern Cameroon, will be taking place in Ghana on a date to be announced. Co-organized by the Pan-African Organization for Research and Protection of Violence on Women and Children and the Dove Lobby Group. So this you can visit the conference website at nw-swpeace-securityconference.org, and you can also make your donations to sponsor as a co-sponsor of the conference. You can make your donations by visiting the website. Before we go, gentlemen, I will give you the final word. You just take a few seconds and say one final word before we round up. Dr. Florentin Fonche, you go first, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to talk on SCBC and to talk to all my people, the indigenous people of Ambazonia, globally. Quite pleased. And I just want to ask all of those who are internally displaced and refugees in Nigeria, in other parts of West Africa, that we're doing all our best, and implore on all these leaders of the different factions in the Northwest, Southwest, Ambazonia, former Southern British Cameroons, to please put the people first and do all they can to attend the conference, the Peace Conference, Peace and Justice Conference in
Thank you.
Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. Thanks for coming, and thanks for your leadership in the indigenous people of Ambazonia. Thank you for all the work you do. Next is Mr. Fonche Zama. One last word, sir, before we separate. Mr. Zama, are you there? Okay. Dr. Ndongwi, Peter, you have the final word.
Yes, on behalf of Pan-African Organization for Research and Protection of Violence on Women and Children, we want to really thank you for the time you've given us to talk so much about this conference. We will be coming back every time to discuss and actually share to you, with our people or your listeners, the outcome of this conference soon. And we believe that you will certainly send a delegation to come and cover the conference so that people should know that we are serious, we are neutral, and the conference will come out with the needed result and outcome that we are all looking for. We are appealing to every part, every fraction, every person who has an interest as far as the conflict in Northwest and Southwest region of Cameroon is concerned, to be part of this conference. Please, let's keep away our pride. Let people keep away their pride. Let you not say that, oh, I'm not going to be there because this person is coming. Please, let everybody be there, because there's nothing without you, nothing for you without you. We want that you should be part of it. And we are not going to be working with people we like. If the conference was for people we like, we'll just go out there and I'll call my girlfriend and call my wife and call this, and we come and sit down there and say we are doing something for Southern for Cameroon, or for Northwest and Southwest regions of Cameroon, or for Ambazonia, or whatever. We are serious because there are people suffering. People are dying. Villages are being burned down. Children are not going to school. Businesses are crumbling. There are a lot of things are happening. Even you and myself, we cannot even go back there and be moving freely. We are even afraid of ourselves. So let us bring back the normality that we want, and so that negotiation and diplomacy should take its course, and people should go back on the table. And that can only happen when we all meet in Ghana. Let every party come. Nobody should think. I am inviting every leader. I am talking like the leader of Dr. Ayabacho. I'm talking of Bohabed. I'm talking about Dr. Sako Ikome. I'm talking even about the people in prison. We are incorporating everybody. Nobody will be left behind. We want everybody to be part of this. Your voice should be counted. Your voice should be heard among the people, and you should contribute towards the resolution that is going to end this our long-standing crisis, so that our people should have peace. And women and children should be safe.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And before we separate, I just want to let you know that if my questions appeared confrontational, they were meant to clarify any lingering doubts about the neutrality and the impartiality of the organizers of this conference, because we do acknowledge that any effort, however small, towards the restoration of peace and the return of security within our country, Ambazonia, is to be promoted at all costs. And this is one of them, a big one indeed. This Pan-African Research Organization is a very reputable organization, like Dr. Florentin pointed out, and we do respect what you're undertaking, and we hope that the expected outcomes is what we're going to arrive at, so that we can begin to find a solution to this intractable conflict. And of course, everyone, like you said, invite your friends. Although I'm not sure your wife and your girlfriend will be happy to be in the same conference. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for today. We had Dr. Florentin Fonche, Mr. Fonche Zama, and Dr. Ndonwi Peter, who are organizing the International Conference on Peace and Security in the Northwest and Southwest regions of Cameroon in Ghana on a date to be announced. We look forward to having them sometime in the future to talk about the outcomes of the conference and the successes that will hopefully arrive at. Thank you for coming.
So much.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
to our viewers.
Let's
take an appointment for next Sunday. We'll be hosting another guest or another panel of guests. Until then, it's been Edwin Sangwa hosting in lieu of Bernard, who couldn't make it today. And have a good day. Have a good night. Have a good day wherever you're listening. Until we meet again. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Bye. Bye.